to make your burgers, you're going to start off with finely dicing your onions. You want it finely diced because you don't want big chunks of onion inside your burgers, because it won't stick together quite as well. And we're just going to fry them gently so that we've got rid of the harsh flavour to them. Because I want them finely diced, I've made some cuts into it really close together, and then just turning it around using your claw grip and then cutting it so that you've got some fine pieces of onion. Turn it onto the bigger, flatter side when it gets a bit more difficult to hold, and then turn it back again. Okay, and then that's just going to go into a frying pan with a small amount of oil. So I'm just going to do a couple of squirts or about a teaspoon. So that goes into your frying pan, and you're going to put it onto a medium to gentle heat and soften them. If it gets a bit of colour, that's not a problem. It just adds a bit of flavour to it, but you don't want to burn it. Once your onions are softened, you're going to put your mincemeat in a bowl, and then you can season with salt and pepper. Now, burgers are a thing that you can kind of add your own flavourings to. So you could add some herbs, you could add spices, you could use different type of meat. I've got minced beef, but you could use pork or chicken or lamb, and have lots of different flavourings of burgers that you choose. But this is just a basic beef burger, just to give you that idea of how to make them. So we're then just going to add in our onions. I'm just going to start breaking it up with a fork, just to begin with. Try and leave your onions to cool for a bit before you add them in. Some recipes might call for some breadcrumbs to be added, which will absorb some of the fat. I've got quite low fat mince here, so hopefully it will work and they will bind together. You might need an egg to bind it together, but if you work your protein enough, it should come together quite nicely. Make sure you've got some water in the sink, some hot soapy water in your sink, so that you can wash your hands. Don't touch anything whilst you are got meaty hands, because that can cause cross-contamination. So what you're doing now is you're actually working the protein, and as you work the protein, it breaks down those springy coils and those fibres a bit, the connective tissues, and this is what will get it to stay together. If you don't work your protein of your meat, it will fall apart. If you think about mincemeat, it is just finely chopped meat, so as you cook it, they will just crumble apart. So you have got to make sure that you work your meat enough for it to stay together. Same principles as meatballs. You could add in some fresh chopped herbs with this. You could add in grated carrots or peppers or mushrooms. Try and hide your veg if you've got people who don't like it. And then to serve with it, you can make a ketchup or a mayonnaise, or use shop bought. Get some mustard. I'll show you how to make some fried onions to go with it. And you could either make your own bread, or you can buy ready-made bread buns. Okay. So once it's worked together, you're going to split it into even-sized pieces, and you want to get it so that your burgers are of a similar size, so that they cook for the same length of time. So I'm going to go for 4 burgers, so this is 500 grams of mince, and I'm just going 4 burgers, and I've got myself a plate that I can put it on. And you're just going to mould it Once you've washed your hands with soap and water, you are just going to put some cling film over your burgers and put them into the fridge so that they will chill and rest. Otherwise the protein will shrink as you cook it, so you're just allowing your protein to rest until you're ready to cook it. This needs to be in the fridge for at least 15 minutes. To split your buns, use a serrated knife, and then you're just looking for kind of where the natural line is, and then just going through. If you've not got a serrated knife, just try and get a knife that's big enough to be able to go through it, otherwise you won't end up with a nice smooth finish. And I'm just going to toast my buns slightly so that if any of the juices come out of the burger, it doesn't go into your bread and make it soggy. So we're just going to toast them. Depending on what bread you use, I've got brioche buns, so they've got sugar in and they will caramelise. So just to toast them, I'm just putting them in a dry frying pan. You could toast them under the grill, or if you're baking your burgers, you could put them in the oven for the last few minutes of them cooking, or if you're doing them on the barbecue, you could always just put them over the grill on your barbecue just for a few minutes just to toast them. But this way we'll just kind of toast the side that the burger's going to be on and then leave the rest of your bun so that it's nice and soft. But you should be able to see that it'll start to actually get some colour because this one's brioche. But even if you just had normal white buns, you would get that dextrinization on there as well. So you should just get that colour like that. If you want some fried onions to go with your burgers, just get yourself onion, peel it, cut it in half, and I am actually going to take the root off as well, so that rather than having half moons, I'm just going to have slices that are all going to be the same. To caramelise your onions, you're then going to put your put some butter in a pan, and then just get it starting to melt, and then add in your onions. You don't want it on too high a heat, but to break up your onions a bit. And once you've started to get that heat in your pan, turn the temperature down to a medium heat. You don't want to burn your butter. And then you're going to cook your onions probably for about 15 minutes. So keep an eye on them, cooking them slowly, and then they will release their juices, they will soften and they will caramelise, so you'll get them a nice golden brown colour. You don't want to burn them. And now we'll reduce down.